This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Ladies and gentlemen, the New York Knicks score 138 points tonight. 3 players in double digits. Emmanuel Quickley, Quentin Grimes,
30 points.
and Obi Toppin.
30 points, yeah.
30 points. What did I say?
Double digits.
Double digits. Yeah, 3 players in 30 points. Yeah, I mean, 3 players with 30-plus points. That's what I meant to say. Quentin Grimes, Emmanuel Quickley, Obi Toppin, and the Knicks had already clinched 5th, but they would have clinched it tonight anyway. You know what I'm saying, with the win over the Indiana Pacers. 2 more games left to the season. Tony, what's popping with you, brother? How you feeling?
What's good, Sim? Josh, what's going on? Shout out to the chat. Yo, Black is time. Good win. Guys stepped up. Guys got elevated roles and stepped up. Can't ask for nothing. I mean, let me just say though, they said that's the first time it's happened since 79. 79. So you know what I mean? Just clap it up, take your hat off, salute, all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of records like that broken as time goes on because scoring is so high in the NBA now. So there's going to be a lot of those type of records that get broken over the coming years. Josh, what's good, man?
Salute, Sam. Salute, Tony. Salute to the chat. Salute to NBK family. Yeah, I agree. The scoring has gone up across the league, but it's still great to see 3 players who the Knicks drafted score over 30 points tonight, and the way they did it, how they did it, unselfish. And also can't forget about Mitchell Robinson and his great game that he had tonight, defensively, offensively. Seeing some things from Mitch that we haven't seen before that we talked about, and I'm hype about that. So this was just overall, despite, the irrelevance of the game itself, we still seen a lot tonight that we can take to move forward to keep us hyped. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah, no doubt. My man Lloyd Barker says, Sim, are you jumping out the window yet? Man, I'm standing next to the window with it open right now. I'm like right there. Every time I see this team play, and even like tonight, while they gave up 129 points, just my thought is always they can play like we have been saying in the past couple of shows. They can play any style of basketball, and that is so dangerous. They can slow it down. They can pound it down. They can play up-tempo if you have the right lineups in the game. They can grind it out. Like, they can play any style of basketball. You know what I mean? And that's hard for a team to defend. It's hard for a team to say, well, we're going to do this, because the Knicks can have the answer if they so choose to.
Makes it easier for Tibbs to adjust too.
Yeah.
Make adjustments, in-game adjustments. It's one of those things that we always talk about.
Right.
Tim, you said you right on the edge. I say just jump out.
Bro,
go ahead and jump out the window. Worst case
like
scenario,
the window is open.
You just say you slip. You know what I mean?
Right. The window is open. The breeze is blowing in. I'm warding off birds trying to fly through and everything. I'm right there. I'm right there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not ready to say that they're a championship level team. They got to do some things first.
I'll say this. I know we got to see it in the playoffs, Josh, before you say that. But what I'm going to say is every single challenge this team has faced all year, we have overcome. Every single time something came up, we overcome it.
Yeah.
So
I wasn't going to say that, Tony. I wasn't going to say we got to wait to the playoffs, because I agree with you. The resiliency is this team's MO. Resiliency. So I agree with that. I don't think we got to wait to the playoffs to see that. We already know that.
It is. Yeah, Vaughn Allen. The window draft feels real good tonight. No doubt about it. You know what I will say is this. the Knicks don't get anyone in the offseason, I'm perfectly fine with seeing how this team can grow, because as we watch this team and, players, Julius Randle down, RJ Barrett down, Jalen Brunson down, and guys stepping up and playing at high levels, it makes you say, man, if you keep this group together, what can they do? So if they don't get a player in the offseason, which I don't expect they're going to do, I'm cool with seeing how they can come back next year. I really am. And seeing how good they can be if they come back next year, and how, because when you're coaching, and the more you play with, the more you coach players, and the more you get into situations, you figure out what players can do, right? And so now you figure out new ways to use those players because you have trust in them in certain areas. And so, I'm okay with saying, well, let's see what, whatever happens this year in the playoffs, let's see what they can do, because we're seeing a lot of things and learning a lot of things about this team.
And you start seeing the different combinations that work too.
Yeah.
So now all right, these two guys together work better than if I pair them any other way. You know what I mean? So let me rock with these two, or these three guys together. Give me defensive something that I haven't seen with any other combination. You know what I mean? So you start seeing little things like that as well.
Right. When Vaughn Allen said, this is our core. Yeah, and it's a deep core. This is a real, true core of players, and who knows where they could go. Guys obviously have to get better. You know what I mean? And at some point, you're going to figure out whether or not this group can get over the top by itself or not. But, if you don't pick up a player over the summer, I'm cool with bringing it back. How you feel about that, Josh? Because I know, you feel like, you got to have that star in order to get over the top. But how do you feel about this group? And if they don't bring a player in next year, how you feel about them next year?
Well, I agree. I think, first of all, this team, like I mentioned on several occasions, this team is under contract for the core that I'm talking about between Brunson and Randall and RJ and Mitch. They're under contract for the next 3 to 4 years. So you're going to have them under contract no matter what. The rest of these guys, the young players, and Josh Hart, we're going to add to that because we're going to assume that he's going to extend it for at least 2 more years after this, 2 to 3 more years after this, right? So that's a core right there within itself that you have under contract. Now, as far as the rest of the young guys are concerned, they're still in their rookie deals, right? Mm-hmm. They haven't got extended yet, so you got them for at least another season as well. I'm cool with the Knicks running it back. However, if that player does become available, I would like to add that said player, particularly if he's on a level of Brunson and Randall or better than those two. I would like to add that player to this roster because I think, like I said about Donovan Mitchell, that's contention. That's taking the Knicks to a level where we have not seen ever, and I think in our lifetimes. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm thinking about. But I'm fine with the Knicks running it back. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, there's a lot. Is there anyone on this roster that you think can get to that level, that can get to the level of Brunson and Randall?
That's where thank you, sir. Thank you.
Well, answer the question, Tony. Let me hear your response to that.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes. Quickly, yes.
Okay.
And I'm starting to become a believer in Grimes at that level too. Me and Queen was talking about this for like an hour last night. So I think it was last night. But yes.
I am not ready to go there yet. I remember us saying last season that RJ was that player that was going to do that. Obviously that's not the case. I still need to see a little bit more. Anybody has that potential, I would say, right? Anybody of the young core or that those young players have potential to do something better, right? But I'm not ready to say that they're ready to get at that level yet, like a Brunson and a Randall. I'm not ready to go there. You know what I mean? I feel like if the Knicks can go out and get that player that's at that level, that's already there, we can be seeing contention way sooner than we think. You know what I mean? Despite how well this team is playing right now. So, I'm not ready to go there yet.
I've been on record as saying I feel like Quickly has the most potential to become a star out of our young guys. And honestly, Grimes is showing me more and more. I love
Quinn Grimes. I love that guy.
When people were making the Clay comparisons early, I thought they were crazy.
Premature.
But if his defense can stay or continue to improve at the level that his offense has been improving, then call me crazy, but he could become better than Clay because he's more athletic than Clay ever was. You know what I mean? Even pre-injury. And I mean, well, that's the main reason why I think he could. Again, it's all like still that potential thing, right? So it's never a stamp, but yeah,
Better than Clay, huh? Wow.
he
Okay.
could because he has more better. He has more of an offensive package than Clay has. I think so.
Clay can post you. Clay can post you. He can do that. Or at least he used to before the injury.
That's true.
So let's not forget about that part of his game. But I mean, listen. I think these guys do have a chance. These guys do have a chance, but I'm just not ready to go there yet. I'm not ready to say that any of these players are at that level or are going to reach that level as of yet. I will have to see more. But they've been playing really well. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to take that away.
I mean, the question is could.
Right.
Yeah, anybody could, though, Tone. That's not really saying much.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I don't know if anybody could. You know, some people have some limitations that you know, this is what they're gonna be. You know what I mean? I mean, some people. I mean, you can look at them and you see them play, like, oh yeah, they're probably gonna, they don't have much offense. Like Nerlens Noel,
like RJ.
I actually wanted.
You wasn't expecting him to be the best center ever. But before you get to that, with Quentin Grimes, like I seen some things tonight that, him being out there and being one of your main scorers, he was forced to do some things that I hadn't seen much of before, right? Like he goes off the dribble, but usually it's because someone kicked it out to him and then he's got a defender closing out on him and then he goes past him. But I seen him tonight have the ball in his hands a little bit, right? Take some setup dribbles and then go off the dribble, right? And that's something a little bit different than you normally see from Grimes because there's not many setup dribbles from him. It's just, boom, I'm attacking because they're closing out at me. You know what I mean? But a couple of times he caught it, bop, 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 and then went to the basket. And he's got a quick first step, and he gets up a lot higher than I think people realize. You know what I mean? So, Grimes is definitely doing some things. The Knicks got him on a rookie deal for a while. Emmanuel Quickly, Obi Toppin. You know what I mean? They've got some pieces, and we'll see how it all comes together. But I'm definitely willing to see. In the offseason, nobody's there to see how they come together. Because if you look at it, the Knicks, what do they have right now? 47 wins. They'll have a chance to get 49 wins. I'm actually hoping they drop a game. I'm not even going to lie, because the Knicks have been streaky all season long. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want them to hit that other streak as they hit the playoffs. You know what I mean? They've been a streaky basketball team, but, I wouldn't mind if they dropped the game. I'm superstitious like that. I'm not going to lie. I am. I don't know why. I just am. But if they would have started the season a little bit better, they'd be 50-plus wins. Right? If you look at the November that they had and early December, the Knicks weren't playing well. They were dropping games. You know what I mean? If they had, from December 1st until now, they've been like a top 7 or 8 team in the league. But if they had a better November, the Knicks would be, 51, 52, 53 games or something like that, this season, if they had a better November. So I would not be afraid to have them come back, see how they start the season next year, and see where it leads. Because they got a lot of things. They got a lot of things happening. You know what I mean? And Quickly, I agree with you, Tony. Quickly would probably be the one. I know someone had asked a while ago, a long time ago, I don't remember who it was, but, who I thought was the most likely to be an all-star between Quickly and RJ. And I don't know if somebody else was mentioned, but I had said Quickly. And right now, with people out, Quickly's stepping up to be the leader out there. With this young group that you're seeing out there on the floor, Quickly is the leader, and he's the go-to. He's the guy that they're expecting to score the ball, to handle the ball, to make the decisions on the floor. That's a lot of stuff, man. That's a lot of stuff.
Yep.
If it makes me afraid that when somebody comes, Quickly is going to be the guy that they want, especially if he hasn't, signed an extension or anything like that, and he's still getting paid. I think his net he'll get paid next year. I think he gets paid 4.1 or something like that. You know what I mean? That's pretty cheap for what you're getting from Emmanuel Quickly. You know what I mean? He'll be the guy that people want. I mean, and I understand you got to give up something to get something. I get that, but I wouldn't want to move Emmanuel Quickly. I like Quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I like Quickly too. But I think it's a necessary evil when you're talking about like this team, for example, right? I mean, we don't know where they can go. Like, we think they have a really good chance of getting out the first round, right? But beyond that, you start talking about Philadelphia and Boston and Milwaukee. They're not really. We don't expect them to really win any of those series, right? Anybody has a chance on any given series. Players go down here and there, but giving up Quickly for a player that can potentially take us to that next level and potentially over the top, I think it's a necessary evil. You know what I mean? It's a necessary evil.
I get it.
It sucks. It sucks, but and we're just talking prematurely here. We're just talking for a matter of perspective here. It's not going to happen anytime soon, I don't think. But I think at that point it will be necessary because where Brunson and Randall are right now, playing at the level that they're playing, I always felt, even before we even got if we would have made a Donovan Mitchell trade, that trade would have took us to a level even higher than where we are right now. You know what I mean? So that's the way I'm looking at it. I'm thinking about further on, down the road. But
possibly, possibly it would have. You have to say possibly because you just, the dynamics. You always got to think about the dynamics. You know what I mean? What I don't want to happen to this team, and this would be even on a bigger scale, in my opinion, a little bit of a bigger scale. You look at what happened with Brooklyn, right? I mean, that thing, they had a young core, a young group that people thought, hey, man, you like the way it's going. And then, they made the moves so that they can get in KD and Kyrie, and it crashed and burned. You know what I mean? And now you see where they are. Now, they do have draft picks, and they have another young group. You know what I mean? That would be the fear, I think, of a lot of people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That you bring in someone and, you give up your depth, you give up some of these young guys, and you bring somebody in, and it doesn't work.
It's the wrong guy, the wrong fit.
Or it's the wrong fit, the wrong guy, whatever it is. I think that'd be the fear of a lot of people. You know what I mean?
But let's not forget the plenty of occasions in which that has worked out for teams. Toronto, the Lakers, that has worked out for teams. So it goes both ways. But eventually the Knicks, I think, and again, we're talking for a matter of perspective here. Eventually the Knicks are going to get to that point where they're going to have to make a decision, right? Sometimes it takes, like Toronto, for example, it took them getting to the playoffs and then losing in the second round or conference finals a couple years, right? Where they realized they couldn't get over the hump. They fired the coach of the year, the reigning coach of the year at that point, and then they made the trade, pulled it off, and it worked out for them, right? Rental player, Kawhi Leonard, and they won them a championship. Lakers, right? They had their whole entire young core. Traded away Randall for Anthony Davis, right? Traded away, Josh Hart and all these guys for Anthony Davis, and they wound up getting LeBron, and it worked for them. So I think there is a way in which it can work. As a Knicks fan, we've seen all the bruises. Shout out to Tony. We've seen all the bruises over the years doing stuff like that. But I just think the Knicks have not gotten outside of Carmelo Anthony, which it wasn't the Carmelo Anthony trade that screwed up. It was how they handled it after. Outside of that, we haven't seen this Knicks team actually get that guy. Right, we haven't seen him. Like Brignani was not that guy. All these other players that the Knicks brought in, not on that level. You know what I mean? So I do think fit matters, but I think us as a fan base have not seen us go out and trade for that guy outside of Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And that took us to another level.
I mean, I get it.
You know
I agree. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's why you got those front office people who make the big bucks. How long?
What else we haven't do?
How long do you try to let it? If it's really going good, right? Let's say they don't get anybody, and the Knicks take it up to 56, 57 wins next season. At that point, you might say, well, let's see where this team can go. And then you got to figure out how long do we wait until we decide okay, we need to do something to get over the hump because this group can't get it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Sam, I think the difference is you mentioned regular season, though. I think 57 wins, all that is good regular season. But I think those teams that I mentioned, right, specifically Toronto, they were in the playoffs and they couldn't get past a certain round. So it wasn't about how many games they won during the regular season. It was them in the playoffs not being able to beat LeBron, right? Not being able to beat those teams. So I'm looking at that, and that's why the playoffs are important.
Right.
Like, run it back next season. Yep.
Right, and that's where I mean, I'm talking
Even
about.
That's what he's asking. That
Right,
that's part of what you're asking.
Yeah,
I'm
it's part of what I'm asking. They get to the, let's say next season they 57 wins or something like that, and they get to the second round, and they go deep into the second round, but they get eliminated. Do you say, oh, we need another guy, or do you say, well, maybe they can get better the year after? You know what I'm saying? Because they got more chemistry, guys are getting better. That's always a tough task on the front office to figure out when is the right time to go get that guy if your team is continuously getting better,
growing,
and continuously showing progress. When do I make that move? And it does have to be the right guy too.
How do you judge progress, Sam? Like, what metric is there? And I'm asking, it's an open-ended question. Like, it's subjective.
Yeah, continuous for me. Progress would be continuously, getting better as a team. You're continuously getting better, right? You make it. Say the Knicks got eliminated in the first round this year. The next year they make it to the second round. They take it to Game 7, right? And then they get eliminated, and maybe they do that for 2 years. But then all of a sudden, the fourth year they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. But they're continuously getting better. You know what I'm saying? And then somebody comes along, now you have to make that decision. Well, we've been getting better every year. We've been taking a step. Do we wait and see if this team can take a step, or do we take a shot with this guy? Those are the tough decisions those guys got to make. It's a tough one. It's a hard one.
And sometimes it's even hard to judge where you fared in the playoffs because it's all matchup based anyway, right? So you may get a easy stretch in the playoff relatively. I know everybody's a threat, whatever, but you know what I mean. You may get a team that squeezed in on a playing spot. You know what I mean, or whatever the case. Just a favorable matchup that gets you to the Eastern Conference. You may meet up with hypothetically the Bucks there. You know what I mean. Next year you may meet the Bucks in the first round on a different matchup. You know what I mean, or at a different seeding. So you made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. You lost to the Bucks, but now you match up against the Bucks in the first round or something, or let's say a 5-6. So it ain't that bad for either one of us. You know what I mean? But you lose to them again. Are you looking at it as a first round loss, or are you looking at it like, man, we gotta figure out how to beat this team? They're the team that keeps knocking us out. So I think all that has to go into play.
Don't forget contract situations, like whether a player's contract is coming to an end, whether you want to maximize Julius Randle's window or you want to maximize Jalen Brunson's window. So I think that comes into play as well. So and it's a subjective question. That's why I asked that, right? But I think ultimately it comes down to how well you do in the playoffs. And let's say the Knicks get to a first round, and next year they get to a second round, and in between from the next year after that, they stay in that second round period, or they can't get over a certain hump. I think that's when they'll start looking at to make decisions based on contract situations, based on the player that's available. So there's many things that go into it. And I know there's a super chat, and the person was saying, I just want to trade for a star just for the sake of. I don't want to just do that just because. Right. I want to do it when the timing is right. And I feel like with Brunson and Randle playing the way they're playing right now, all NBA basketball and the supporting cast that I feel like the Knicks have, the deep supporting cast that they have, like I wouldn't mind having that player come in right now that's under contract for the next 4 years, because we can still continue to get better. And it is about winning the championship. But to me, bringing a star here, because it's going to take luck, it takes a lot of things to match up and everything like that. Getting them to contention is where I want them to be. Contention. The last 4 teams remaining in the conference, Eastern Conference Finals or semifinals, Eastern Conference Finals, last 2 teams, and then we'll see what we can do based off of that, right? It's not necessarily about, winning a championship or, getting that player to win us a championship. It's about getting to contention. So there you go.
Yeah, we'll see how it unfolds, It can't unfold until we finish this season and get to the playoffs this year.
Absolutely.
And figure some things out from there. You know what I mean? So we'll see how all of that unfolds.
Oh, you might as well put it up.
What was that? What you putting up?
Huh?
Go ahead, put it up.
Oh, that I was referring to the super chat.
Oh.
I got him before he got me. How about that?
Yeah, Knicks Hive Live. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. He said, Josh, you just want to star for the sake of it. It has only worked for Toronto and LeBron's, period. No other team has traded for a player and won a ring. Traded or signed a player. Yeah, I don't know.
Milwaukee, they traded for Drew Holiday, or they acquired Drew Holiday, right? So I mean, at some point, you're gonna have to make that move. Jimmy Butler, what about him? They got close, right? It's not about winning a ring; it's about putting yourself in contention and being right there in there. Right now, and the Knicks are gonna get better over the years, right? Let's say if this was there was no salary cap implications and we can keep this together forever, they're gonna continue to get better, of course, right? But you have to look at your window. There is such thing as a window. Right, this team is not going to be together forever, despite what some of the loony Knick fans think. Right, there's going to be free agency, there's going to be trades, things are going to happen. Tom Thibodeau's not going to coach forever. Randall and Brunson are not going to be in their primes forever. So there is a window in which you have to do it. Right, so I'm not just asking to trade for a star just because. I'm saying that for a particular reason. Like we
definitely. The good thing with guys like Brunson and Randall is they're young enough where you have a pretty wide window.
And they're young.
With those guys, you know what I mean? Brunson is 26 years old, so you have a nice window with those players. Now, the thing that will come around is the free agency thing when it comes to guys like Quickly. You know what I mean? That free agency thing could, Quickly wants to be a starter in this league one day. So, he's going to want
You got to say point guard.
You know what I mean?
Apparently, Sim. You got to say point guard when you quote.
Got to say point guard. Well,
Yeah.
Lloyd Barker, Rocky Jr. Look at the Sixers. Don't they choke every year? Don't they make big moves every year? How's that work for Philly? What's been working for us? Tell me what's been working for us. We haven't won a championship in forever, right?
Hey, my only argument, real quick, I'm sorry to cut you off, is it's working right now. So I think part of the thing is like let the process play out is what people say. But you just said that. I know you just started your whole thing with you know what I mean. You're fine with letting it marinate.
Yeah, let me get you a phone call real quick. Caller, you're live. Name me where you're from, please. Caller. Hello. Gotta be ready, man. Gotta be ready. I don't know. Gotta be ready. Anyway, Jovan Green. Genovan Green. Hopefully I said it right. Said great game tonight from Obi, Quick, and Grimes. Mitch looked great. We'll talk about that in a second. Excited for the playoffs. Said, are you doing something for the games in Cleveland? Let me know. We're talking about it. We're going to have a meeting tomorrow so we can talk about what it is, whatever it is we're going to try to do. You know what I mean? Whether it be watch-alongs, going to the games. I don't know what those tickets are going to look like as far as prices. I was on Ticketmaster today and, the early stuff. I seen stuff like 200 level seats, 240 level seats for like $15,000 or something crazy. I'm like, what are these people doing? People got the tickets early from their season tickets and put it on there for wild prices. When the real prices come out, you know what I mean, we'll know what they are. But we're going to be planning something we don't know yet. We're in the midst. We're in the planning stages right now. So just be on the lookout for it. You know what I mean? Be on the lookout for it. And by the way, it just popped in my head. Losers Lounge is going to be at what I put up there, 11:45, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you check us out, Losers Lounge, at 11:45 tonight. Because the Knicks did get a nice win over the Indiana Pacers without all of their stars out there on the floor. The Knicks are able to get some wins. You know what I mean? And they'll probably, they play the New Orleans Pelicans next. And that's going to be a tougher game because the Pelicans are still playing for something. You know what I mean? They're still trying to make it into the play-in for the Pelicans? or they're in the play-in. They're still trying to get up to like the 7th seed or something like that. Right? So, that's going to be a much tougher game, I believe, when the Knicks take on the Pelicans. And then they'll take on the Pacers again, be, a very similar game. At that point, you may not even see IQ and Obi and those guys, as they might let those guys rest for the regular season. Right now, the Pelicans, though, are currently in the 8th seed in the Western Conference, half game behind the Los Angeles Lakers, right? And you'd much rather be, and they still have a chance to get up to the 6th seed, all right? They're just a half game behind the Los Angeles Clippers, who were in the 6th seed. So the Pelicans are still fighting for something, even though it's coming down to the last few games of the season. And if you're going to be in the play-in, you'd much rather be in the 7th seed than the 8th seed, because the 7th seed is going to have a home game for that. One game is going to be a home game, right? So they're going to be battling for something. I want to see this group play against the Pelicans, who, are a legitimate NBA team, battling for something. You know what I'm saying? And see how that looks. See how they look against a team like that. All right. I want to listen to Tom Thibodeau. All right. Talk about what he saw from the team tonight. Then we'll get on to some more stuff, some more questions. I did read the super chat. We'll get on to some more stuff, some more questions and things. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Tom Thibodeau.
Coach, on a night where you don't have your 3 top scorers, yet you get 3 guys with 30, what impressed you most about the effort tonight?
Mitchell. Mitch had a monster game, so I'd say it started with that. The rebounding in Mitchell just was unbelievable, and then Quick and Quentin. That's probably Quentin's best game, and then Obi terrific as well. But the way the ball moved, 138 points, 33 assists. So really, really strong play. And the thing I love about Josh is, the rebounding, the playmaking, and then, you look at his points and then you look at his plus minus, and it's just incredible. And it's like that every game. So what he brings to the team, it's hard to measure, but it's invaluable to us.
With Mitch, he's, obviously this is a game where they're missing a ton of their guys. You're missing a ton of your guys, and he obviously came out and just played insane defensively. What can he take away from this to apply to a more,
and again, it's you go game by game, get yourself ready to play, and when we get to New Orleans, this game will have nothing to do with New Orleans, and so just understand, okay, tomorrow it's all about getting ready for New Orleans. So, don't look ahead. People will be talking about everything but New Orleans. And for us, that's what we have to think about is New Orleans. And we want to be playing our best, going into the postseason. So you go step by step. You can't get there until you go through all the games. So just get ready for each game.
Mitch had 7 blocks and probably a couple more that were fouls on somebody else. Just kind of what you saw from him defensively today. Yeah,
just everywhere, and rebounding in traffic, impacting a lot of plays at the rim, applying good ball pressure, just anchoring, and they spread us out pretty good. They were small, quick, and so he did a great job in there. And they were all big-time effort plays, and in most cases, multiple effort plays, whether it was, someone blocking them out, tip it up, go pursue it, run through it. When you make effort plays like that, that gives your team a lot of confidence. It inspires your team.
You mentioned Quentin, this being maybe his best game. Just what is his last like?
Just the way he's playing. He's playing, all around. Shooting the ball with a lot of confidence. Obviously, flying around the floor, guarding people, multiple effort. But you could just see his confidence growing game by game. And so, they're rhythm shots, and that's what I like about the way we're playing right now. We're creating rhythm for each other. We're creating advantages. So the ball's moving. Obi was involved in a lot of good plays like that. And when you play like that, good things will come from it.
When you see a guy like Quinn, who's played obviously a lot of minutes and a lot of games now, is he not what he was then? I mean, look, as he's headed to the playoffs now, he's a veteran now, really.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he had a terrific year for us last year, and then had a really strong summer, strong fall, and then he got hurt in training camp, and then that so that had a slow start to the season. But then it's just been a steady climb, and to the point where he's clicking right now, and he puts a ton of work into it. Great student of the game, really dedicated to his craft. So, we're not surprised.
Obi also had 30.
Yeah, I thought he read the game well, ran the floor, got us some easy buckets, moved the ball side to side, made some really good plays. So it allows us to, again, he's hard to match up with because of, what he can do. But I think just playing off each other, slow down a little bit, reading the game well, just continue to play to your strengths and play to your teammates' strengths. He made a number of good plays where they were switching, screening his own man, doing things that created advantages for us. And when you play smart, it's going to make the unit function well. And that's really what you look at is how's the unit functioning. And when you look at the plus minus of our starters, it's, off the charts, but it was how they did it. They did it playing off each other.
Quickly, last year, he just didn't have the patience that he does now in these moments when he has to step in and really run the offense. What do you attribute that growth to? Specifically the patience.
Well, I think more than anything, it's like, and he's had big games for us, in the past. I think it's just he's starting, so he's playing a lot more. So there's, he gets a rhythm from that. So, and that's the beauty of his game is you can start him, you can bring him off the bench, you can play him at the 2, you can play him at the 1. He fits with both groups, and it doesn't take him a long time to get going. He's instantaneous. As soon as he gets in, he's ready to go. And there's, you say, okay, we need you to start. Okay, I got it. That's his mindset is terrific.
How valuable is this opportunity, this experience for these guys when they're taking the floor without Julius, Jalen, and RJ?
Well, anytime someone's out, it's an opportunity for someone else to step in. And I think all these guys have had really good moments throughout the year. And the thing that I'm most proud of is the way they improved throughout the year. To think about how we started, where we were to where we are today, and it's a tribute to them, to our players for working together and not skipping over things. Put the work in each and every day.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Tom Thibodeau. I do want to talk about Mitchell Robinson. I know before I didn't get to see everything that Mitch did early in the game because I was at basketball practice, but I want to talk about Mitch. How do you feel about Mitch's performance today? Because he killed it, right? 14 points, 16 rebounds, 6-7 blocks. Tony, you were talking about a couple of moves that you seen from him. Thoughts on Mitch, man?
Some slides to the paint, not the traditional lob. Some offensive rebounds and actually putting the ball on the floor. Showed a little bit of footwork in the post today. And all in the first quarter. You know what I mean? I think he had 8 points in the first quarter. None of them were dunks or none of them were lobs. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So he actually had to work for those points and put in the effort. And to his credit, I guess his teammates had to look for him. Like it wasn't like again, they weren't like offensive rebounds. He made the right read, they made the right find, and then he delivered in the post. So that was great to see. I really feel like tonight all those guys got the green light to kind of I don't want to say experiment because I feel like these guys worked on all aspects of their game, but it was maybe the green light to showcase some things that they're not they don't get the opportunity to do when obviously Brunson and Randall, RJ are on the court. So their roles got expanded, and then their games got expanded. It was great to see.
Yeah.
So I want to piggyback. I'm sorry, Sam.
No, I was saying, go ahead. I want
To piggyback on what Tony said. I think the matchup had a lot to do with that, and the circumstances, us not having R.J. Randall and Brunson. Specifically for Mitch, the Pacers were weak inside tonight. Weak, right? Not taking away anything that Mitch did tonight, because again, I think like what Tony said and what we were talking about earlier in the season in regards to Mitch getting that opportunity, I don't think that his role necessarily expanded. I think the confidence in his role expanded. Meaning we know that Mitchell Robinson now has the ability to do certain things, right? And I think that is huge for this team offensively. I've always said I wanted the Knicks to get a center before we sign Mitchell Robinson that we can throw the ball down to and we can get some buckets, right? Not anybody like Joel Embiid or anything like that, because no one's going to be that. He's just a different type of player. But the ability to throw the ball that inside, particularly in a situation where, let's say, the Knicks aren't shooting that well, and they can throw the ball down to Mitch for a couple times a game to get some easy buckets, depending on the matchup. I think that is important for this team, right? So I'm very happy Mitch got the opportunity to show what he did tonight. And I think as time goes on, the confidence in that play, right? When he is going to get the ball in the post, do a spin move, score, right? I think the confidence in that is going to grow over time based off his performance tonight. So I agree with Tony, and I just want to give Mitch his props tonight for going out and showing that. And the Knicks, and quickly, and some of the guys for knowing that and actually doing
effort.
it. And doing
effort.
it. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and this is the time right here when you can prove to the coaching staff, hey, I can do some things too. You know what I'm saying? Let me get the ball a couple of times a game. But in the game situation, you show what you can do. And then this is, like we talked about earlier, as your team grows and you have a coach that's with the same players, assistant coach that's with the same players for a few years, you start to figure out things that they can do. When you get in these type of situations and they're playing, you figure out, oh, we can put this guy in this role or that role or that role, and it expands what you can do as far as a basketball team. You know what I'm saying? It really does expand it. And next thing you know, you're able to, like Tony said, adjust to anything because you know exactly what your guys can do and how they're going to react in certain situations. You know what I mean? So, this is a really good time for the Knicks. Heading into the playoffs, you got a few games, to just, like you said, you don't want to say experiment, but let the guys play and do some things they may not get a chance to do during the, when the regular starters are there or whatever it is. And so you learn. They learn and you learn. You know what I mean? Then you figure out, well, how can we get this guy to do this once or twice a game? You know what I mean? And then that expands his role, makes him a little bit more happy, and it gives the other team something else to think about. So, it's great, man. It's great. With what's happening with the Knicks right now. You got to feel good about it. This game tonight, they shot 52% from the field. They shot 39% from three. Still only 64% from the free throw line, though. 14 turnovers for the Knicks. 34 assists. The Pacers, they had 33 assists. 51% from the field and 50% from the three-point line. Hopefully, it all feels good right now, but hopefully when we get into the playoffs, the Knicks are able to, get tighter on defense. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
a little bit
sure.
tighter. Yeah, because if you're not playing defense in the playoffs, it's going to be tough to win any basketball. Overall, good night for the Knicks. Dallas won. Right? So the Mavericks are now sitting they're still in the 11th spot, but they're tied with OKC.
And the Bulls. The Bulls lost too.
And the Bulls.
OKC lost, so they all even right now.
At 38 and 42. Right.
They play the Bulls next, I believe, too.
Yep, they're all at 38 and 42. Then they play the Bulls next. Oh man, if they can beat the Bulls.
Sorry, Brian.
If they can beat the Bulls, that'd be big, right? And the Bulls are in the play-in. So they really don't, I mean.
It don't matter for them. Like, that's what I was telling my
Right.
guy. Like, yo. Let's throw that game real quick.
You know what I'm
what I
saying?
mean?
It doesn't really
It
matter.
don't hurt y'all.
Now, the only thing that I would say, and I don't know what the tiebreakers are, they could possibly, they're 2 games below Toronto. You know, are they really playing for that 9th seed? Because, of course, the 9th seed is they got home court advantage. You know what I mean? They're going to play a home game. Would Chicago be playing for that? All right, they play Dallas next, and then they play Detroit. Right? And Toronto, let me get to Toronto here. Toronto plays Boston next, and then Milwaukee. Right? Everything's going to depend on what those 2 teams are doing. If Boston and Milwaukee are done, you know, they've locked up their seeding, then Toronto, you know, they may be playing, you know, they may be playing their bench players. You know what I'm saying? Whereas Chicago, so if I'm Chicago, who knows what's going to happen? I'm going into that game trying to win it. Right? You got to go into that game trying to win it. I'm hoping that they figure something out. Will Milwaukee lock up? Milwaukee is 58-22. They had to have locked up the number 1 seed,
right?
So they should. And Boston is 55-25. They had to have locked up the 2nd seed by now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So Milwaukee clinched the Eastern Conference already. So you know they're the number 1 seed. Boston clinched the Atlantic Division. They have 2 games left. Philadelphia has, how many games does Philadelphia have left? They're 52. They have 3 games left. So I guess there's a chance for Philadelphia still.
Well, that's good. That means Celtics gotta fight.
That means Celtics are fighting
seed
against, right. They're still battling against Toronto. Who knows how it's going to play out? But we need for Dallas to win over Chicago. They win over Chicago, we might be pretty good. We might be good.
Yeah.
We might be good if they get that win over Chicago. You know what I mean?
Because they can't fall back to 10th.
Yeah. And then if they,
yeah, I'm not concerned either way. I'm not worried about that pick.
you know, I mean, I just want to have the asset. You know, it doesn't hurt to have the asset, huh?
Well, moving forward,
I mean, moving forward, you know what I mean. You would have something. You know, I mean, it could possibly turn into 2nd round picks sometime in the future. So if I could,
it's the same restrictions up until 2025. After 2025, it becomes a 2nd round pick.
Right after 2025, you know what I mean. So you know, I mean, 11th somewhere. I mean, that's probably the best you're ever gonna do. Getting it, if you can get it, might as well get it. I mean, who knows what they're gonna do with it? But you know what I mean. I'd rather it convey.
I think, like, and Tony wasn't here, but I think remember we were talking about in regards to, you know, potentially trading for a star player, you know, using some of your assets right now. I think the front office factored that in, like who was going to be available. So they saw an opportunity with Donovan Mitchell. They had the assets ready to do it. They just didn't pull the trigger. And I guess they figured that this offseason, they probably weren't going to find anybody out there that they really, really, truly were going to covet like that, right? The closest thing that I can think of a player that might be available is Jaylen Brown, depending on what Boston is going to do in the playoffs. But I think the front office actually figured that in, that, you know, we probably aren't going to trade for a star player, right? If the pick ain't there, you know, whatever, we're not going to use the pick anyway. For Dallas, I'm talking about, right? Even though I think they assumed that Dallas was going to, that pick was going to convey for us. Like, you know, I think that the Knicks are not even really concerned about it as much as we are, honestly. I think they factored that in.
Well, I mean, I don't think they're, you know, sitting there lamenting like, oh my gosh, come on, Dallas, what are you doing?
Right,
I don't think they're doing that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm pretty sure they're still watching because you know, there's negotiations going on all the time. You know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure they've negotiated with someone, hey, if we get this pick, maybe we'll do this, maybe we'll do that come draft time and things like that. any edge we can get to make the team better. Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, coming into the season, they probably was looking at that pick as a 26th, 27th pick, in the draft. So now the fact that it has an opportunity to land in that late lottery, you know what I mean? And then they're probably projecting like, all right, worst case scenario, you can't really see the Dallas Mavericks next year kind of not fixing whatever went on at the end of this year. You know what I mean? Like, so they should potentially get better, even though they've been, as Kyrie said, a cluster.
Yeah, for next season. For next season, I'm talking about right now.
Well, what I'm saying is chances are it won't fall into the lottery moving forward. The fact that it's in that lottery range now is a blessing. You know what I mean? Like nobody.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's what
I get what you're saying. The lottery part.
Yeah. I got you. The fact that it's there right now, I think maybe it's around the 12th pick right now, but still, it's probably never going to be that high again.
Right. I see what Tony. I see. That's one way to look at it. Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean? And then, whatever they can do with it, they do. But, all of that helps. And negotiating power, whatever it is they're going to do. But anyway, we'll be watching that as well, ladies and gentlemen. Next week, after we finish this week out, we'll be in full playoff breakdown mode. You know what I mean? Full playoff breakdown mode. And, looking at the Knicks, looking at the Cavs, trying to scour film and figure out where the Knicks have an upper hand and all that kind of stuff. So that should be fun. We got a full week of it. A full week. It's almost like Super Bowl. You know what I mean? You got a full 2 weeks or something before you get to the Super Bowl and you got all this stuff going on. You got a full week. The play-in will be on. That'll be fun to watch. And in the meantime, we'll be breaking down Knicks film and trying to figure out where the Knicks can get an advantage. You know what I mean? But anyway, we're going to get out of here so we can get ready for the Losers Lounge. You know what I mean? Josh, anything you want to say before we rock out of here?
Yeah, salute to K Boogie. He left a super chat earlier. Basically, because the Knicks made the playoffs this year, Julius Randle and Isaiah Hartenstein are going to get bonuses. I think it's $350,000 or some million, whatever the number is. But because the Knicks made the playoffs, Julius Randle and Isaiah Hartenstein are going to get bonuses, and that's what K Boogie super chat said earlier. In regards to what we were talking about earlier,
but don't leave out. He said that there's also going to be a single for the playoffs.
Oh,
there's going to be a single. There's going to be a single for the playoffs.
Yeah. There definitely is going to be a single. You know what I mean? So stay tuned for that. In regards to what I said earlier, in regards to the star chase, and listen, I don't want to just bring in any old star just to trade for one. That's not what I want to do. But throughout the course of this team's history, since Dolan took over, we know about the mismanagement and all of that. But throughout the Knicks' history, they really haven't had too many guys that are like that dude. And I think that contributed to us not being able to get over the hump on plenty of occasions. In the 90s, we had Patrick Ewing. We were contending, right? Patrick Ewing was one of the best players at his position. Perennial All-NBA. The Knicks were a perennial contending team, right? Back in the 70s, Willis Reed, God rest his soul, in 1970, he was best player in the NBA, right? We had that player on the roster, right? In between, Bernard King in the 80s or whatever, that was short-lived. We have never had that type of player. So I think there is a correlation between what the Knicks have not done in the championship regard, the contention regard, and them not being able to have that player. Other teams throughout history, the teams that have been, successful, contending championships, they've had that player on the roster, right? So that's where I'm coming from in regards to it. I just don't want to trade for anybody, but there's a reason, there's a method to the madness, I think, in the NBA. You need to have stars in this league, period. So hopefully we'll get one soon. But I'm in no rush to get trade for anybody and get rid of everything that we built. I think that's a huge misconception out there.
Okay. I mean, maybe we already got him. Maybe that guy just hasn't developed. Tom Thibodeau said
maybe that too.
In his first year, he said there's several ways to get stars. You can trade for one, you can sign one, and you can develop your own. Maybe the Knicks are on the path of developing one. Tony, anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Nah, man, appreciate you. Everybody get ready. Go right to the Losers Lounge. We'll be there shortly. Shout out to the chat. Yo, Blackest Time, Sim, man. Always keep doing your thing.
We appreciate you guys, man. Yeah, Losers Lounge coming up in 15 minutes. So you have just enough time to go grab a bite to eat and come back for the Losers Lounge. As a matter of fact, as soon as the stream is over, it's going to take you directly to that stream. It won't be up yet, but you'll be able to sit there and wait, chill, grab something to eat, all that good stuff. We appreciate your time, folks. We out of here. Peace.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.